Market Monday, Tuesday edition. Good morning. Quick note, apologies for getting this out a day late. My wife's been out of town and I've had my hands full with the kids. Our weekend market pulse showed an interesting shift. While more properties are seeing competition, 50% versus 43% last week, that competition is cooling with an average of just zero point 0.9 offers per property compared to 1.2 last week. Half of buyers continued waiving inspections when they find the right home, and price outcomes remain seller favorable with 90% of contracts at or above list price. This week's data reveals how this selective competition is playing out across Montgomery County's diverse markets. Montgomery County breakdown by property and community type. Bethesda, Maryland, single family homes. Median list price $2,050,000, down from $2,097,000. Median price of new listings $1,621,900, up from $1,522,000. Price per square foot, 447, that's down from 452. Average days on market, 74, down from 76. Median days on market, a push, 42 last week. Price decreased 33%, down from 39. Price increased 1%, a push from last week. Relisted 14%, down from 15%. Inventories at 151, that's up from 132. Medium rent is coming in slightly down at 5,400, 55 last week. The MAI is at 31 from 42. This is a slight seller's advantage on the market action index. Now, the market narrative, the market has been at a stasis point in terms of sales to inventory. However, prices seem to continue to fall a bit. Technically, supply levels indicate this is a seller's market, so it's likely that downward pricing pressure will be later variable. Okay, my take. The pace of property sales is quartile specific. Properties with a median price of $1,150,000 go in 22 days, but go to the 1,759,950 medium price and days of market double. 3,662,500 days of market is 84. That said, there is clear sign of weakness given that even in the bottom quartile, absorption is not keeping up with the new listings, hence the downward hence the downward pressure on pricing. Bethesda condos and townhouses. Median list price 434,750. That's down from 436,499. Median price of new listings 434,750, down from 1,525,000. Price per square foot 345, down from 356. Average days on market 53, down from 69. Median days on market is 42 this week and last week. Price decreases at 42, down from 48. Price increases 0 from 0. Relisted 2%, that's a push from last week. Inventory is up slightly at 48 from 46. Medium rent is 3,030. That's up from 3,020. And the market action index is up to 45 from 40. We have a strong seller's market. Market narrative. The market has been cooling off a bit in recent weeks as more homes are available and demand is less. We're already seeing prices move lower as a result. My take, the improved days on market and reduced price cuts suggest stabilization. Additionally, absorption met inventory in 3 of 4 quartiles. Chevy Chase single family homes. Median list price of $2,199,800. That's up from $2,174,900. Median price of new listings $2,485,000. That's up from $1,829,500. Per square foot 540. That's up from 536. Average days on market down to 90 from 94. Medium days on market is a push at 42. Price decrease is down to 40 from 46. Price increase 0 to 0. Relisted 16%, down from 19%. Inventory is up to 57 from 52. Medium rent is at 5,300, up slightly from 49.95. The market action index dropped significantly to 22 from 41. This is a slight buyer's advantage. Market narrative. In the last few weeks, the market has been at a stasis point in terms of sales to inventory. However, prices seem to continue to fall a bit. My take, the MAI plummeted from 41 to 22, marks Chevy Chase shift to a buyer's market. Despite aggressive new listing pricing, 40% still require price cuts. Chevy Chase condos and townhouses. Medium list price 465,000. That's down from 475,000. Median price of new listings in at 306,500. That's up from 233,500. Price per square foot 401, down from 406. Average days on market 84, down from 86. Medium days on market 49, down from 63. Price decreased 42%, down slightly from 43. Price increases at zero, same as last week. Relisted 10%, that's up from 8%. Inventory dropped slightly to 71 from 75. Medium rent coming in at 2,765, that's up from 2,693. And the market action index rose to 40 from 31. This is a slight seller's advantage. Market narrative, the market has started cooling and prices have recently plateaued. Since we're in a seller's zone, watch for changes in the MAI. My take, the improved days on market and rising market action index suggest renewed activity, but the increased rate and persistent 42% price cuts indicates ongoing pricing challenges. That said, absorption is generally outpacing inventory, so I wouldn't be surprised to see a rebound in next week's numbers. Gaithersburg, Maryland, single family homes, medium list price 889,000. That's down from 912,450. Median price of new listings 874,900. That's up from 809,500. Price per square foot 257. That's a push. Average days on market 70, up from 64. Medium days on market at 42, up from 35. Price decreases in at 40%. That's down from 42. Price increased 1%, up from 0. Relisted at 11. That's up from 9%. Inventory dropped to 87 from 96. Medium rent came in at 3,200. That's down from 3,250. The market action index rose to 65 from 44. This is a strong seller's market. The market narrative. The market remains in relative stasis in terms of sales to inventory. Prices have not been moving higher for several weeks. My take, despite the strong MAI jump, increasing days on market and relist rates suggest buyers remain selective. The market shows conflicting signals. That said, absorption is outpacing inventory in all four quartiles, and the bottom two show days on market at under 30 days. Gaithersburg, Maryland, condo and townhomes. The medium list price 464,450. That's up from 459,450. Median price of new listings 480,000, down from 505,000. Price per square foot, 274. That's a push from last week. Average days on market, 37, down from 39. Medium days on market, 21, down from 25. Price decreases 33%. That's down from 31. Down from 35. Price increases 0 to 0. Relist rate is at 4%, down from 8. Inventory is a push at 92 last week and this week. Medium rent 2,250, also a push. MAI, the market action index at 61, that's up from 55, and it's a strong seller's market. The market continues to get hotter, more sales demands and fewer homes listed have contributed to relatively long run of increasing prices. My take, the improved metrics across the board, faster sales, fewer price cuts, reduced listings confirm the genuine market strength here. Moreover, 3 of 4 quartiles absorption rate outpaced inventory, and the one quartile that didn't still averaged only 14 days on market. Germantown, Maryland, single family homes. Medium list price in at 850,000. That's a push from last week. Median price of new listings 800,000, up slightly from 799. Price per square foot 269, up from 252. Average days on market 48. That's down from 56. Medium days on market also down from 35 down to 28. Price decreases down to 34% from 42. Price increases a push at 0. Relisted up to 9% from 6. Inventory 35 from 31. Medium rent down slightly to 250 2598, down from 2700. The market action index is coming in at 33, down from 54. This is a slight seller's at that advantage. The market narrative: the market has started cooling and prices have recently plateaued. Since we're in the seller's market, watch for changes in MII. My take: the dramatic market action index drop from 54 to 33 signals significant demand deterioration, though improved days on market suggest properly priced homes still move. Germantown condo and townhouses. Medium list price 340,000. That's up from 335. Median price of new listings 399.9. That's up from 332,499. Price per square foot, 264. That's up from 260. Average days on market up to 45 from 43. Medium days on market, a push at 28. Price decrease, 42, also a push. Price increases, that's up 1%, or actually down 1% from 3%. Relisted, 7%, down from 8%. Inventory, 73, down from 77. Medium rent, 2011. That's up from 2001. The market action index is at 73. That's up from 57. We have a strong seller's market. Market narrative: the market has been cooling over time and price plateaued for a while. Despite the consistent decrease in MII, we are still in a seller's market. Alto says the market's been cooling over time and prices plateau for a while. Despite the consistent decrease in MAI, we're in a seller zone. Now, my take: obviously, the strong MAI surge to 73 contradicts this narrative. The market shows genuine heat with aggressive new listings pricing up 20% week over week. Not to mention, absorption rate in all four quartiles met or beat inventory. Kensington, Maryland, single family homes. Medium list price 1,087,500. That's a push. Median price of new listings 759,000. That's down from 1,296,250. Price per square foot in at 363, down from 374. Average days on market up to 72 from 60. Medium days on market at 46. That's up from 42. Price decrease 35%, down from 39. Price increases 0 to 0. Realist 18%. That's up from 17%. The inventory dropped slightly to 34 from 36. Medium rent came in at 4,075, same as last week. And the market action index is in at 48. That's up from 46, and that is considered a strong seller's market. Market narrative has been cooling off a bit in recent weeks as more homes are available and demand is less. However, the market is still notably in the seller zone. My take: the persistent 18% relist rate confirms ongoing pricing disconnects, but I am seeing more strength than Altos is here. Specifically, three of four quartiles, absorption rate outpaced inventory, and the only one that didn't had a fast 14 days on market. Poolsville single family homes. Median list price $1 million. That's down from 1,049,000. Median price of new listings 574,900. Price per square foot at 285. That's up from 255. Average days on market in at 123. That's up from 111. Median days on market 42. That's a push from last week. Price decrease 20%. That's down from 27% last week. Price increases 0 to 0. Relisted also 0 to 0. Inventory drops slightly to 10 from 11. Medium rent coming in at 3,500, also a push. The market action index is at 56. That's up from 39, and it does indicate a strong seller's market. The market narrative: the market has been cooling off in a bit in recent weeks as more homes are available and demand is less. We're already seeing some prices move lower as a result. My take: with inventory just 10 homes and average days of market at 123 days, this thin market shows extreme performance variance by price point. Potomac, Maryland single family homes. Median list is coming in at 1,799,949. That's down from 1,875,000. Median price of new listings, 1,250,000. That's down from 1,359,000. Price per square foot, 355, down from 356. Average days on market up to 81 from 74. Median days on market up to 39 from 35. Price decreased 29% from 30%. Price increases 0 to 0. Relisted 10%. That's up from 8%. Inventory is down to 72 from 84. Medium rent is also down slightly to 5,325 from 5,338. The market action index comes in at 59. That's up from 41 and does indicate a strong seller's market. The market narrative, the market has been cooling off a bit in recent weeks as more homes are available and demand is less. We're already seeing prices move lower as a result. My take, I see more strength here than Altos is reporting. Absorption outpaced inventory in 3 of 4 quartiles. In the lowest quartile with a median price of 1,224,000 days on market is a fast 14 days. And while this quartile only met inventory, absorption only met inventory, the majority of new listings fell in this quartile. Well, Maryland single family homes, median list price 854,500. That's down from 874. Median price of new listings 704,000. That's down from 749. Price per square foot 329, down from 342. Average days on market up to 51 from 48. Medium days on market up to 35 from 28. Price decreases 48%. That's down from 51. Price increased 1% from 1%. Relisted 6%. That's down from 8%. Inventory is at 80. It's a push from last week. Medium rent is at 3,500. That's also a push. And the market action index is coming in at 50. That's down from 55. Still a strong seller's market. The market narrative. The market has been cooling over time and prices have recently flattened despite the consistent decrease in market action index, MAI, or in the seller's market. My take, again, I'm seeing a bit more strength here than the narrative shows. The bottom 3 quartiles are very healthy. Absorption met or beat inventory in all 3 and have a reasonable near 30-day market average, days on market average. Most of this weakness seems to be in that top quartile of 1,394,500. Rockville, Maryland, condos and townhouses, medium list price 457,000. That's up from 455. Median price of new listings 569, 850. That's down from 598,000. Price per square foot 347. That's up from 344. Average days on market in at 62, up from 60. Medium days on market, a push at 35. Price decrease 31%, also a push. Price increases down slightly 1% from 2%. Relisted up slightly 11% from 10. Inventory is at 152, down slightly from 153. Medium rent 2,583,000, and that's up from 2,575,000. The market action index is down slightly to 41 from 42, which is a slight seller's advantage. Market narrative in the last few weeks, the market has achieved relative stasis point in terms of sales to inventory. However, inventory is sufficiently low to keep us in the seller market zone. My take, the plateau continues with minimal movement across metrics. Rising relist rate suggests some sellers testing market limits. Bottom 2 quartiles, 415,000 and 252,000. The absorption rate is significantly outpacing inventory, but the somewhat sluggish days on market still indicate buyer reservations. Silver Spring, Maryland, single family homes, median list price in at 690,000. That's up from 685. Median price of new listings 689,000. That's down from 699,500. Price per square foot 323. That's up from 316. Average days on market down to 43 from 51. Medium days on market, a push at 28 days. Price decreases 34% from 37%. price increased 1%. That's a push from last week. Relisted is up slightly, 11% from 8. Inventory also up slightly to 166 from 163. Medium rent coming in at 3,100, also a push. And the market action index fell slightly to 49 from 53, but still in a strong seller's market. Market of narrative. In the last few weeks, the market has achieved relative stasis point in terms of sales to inventory. However, inventory is sufficiently low to keep us in the seller's market. My take, improved market times are offset by increased relisting activity. This market remains relatively stable compared to others. Absorption met or beat inventory in 3 of 4 quartiles. Silver Spring, Maryland condo and townhouses. The median list price in at 252.5. That's down from 265,000. Median price of new listings 250,000. That's down from 305,000. Price per square foot 244, down from 245. Average days on market down slightly, 78 from 79. Medium days on market down to 49 from 56. Price decrease 39% from 42. Price increases 3%, up from 2%. Relisted, that's up to 10% from 7. Inventory also fell to 158 from 171. Medium rent is up to 1,972 from 1,962. The market action index is coming in at 60. That's up from 44 and does indicate a strong seller's market. The market narrative, market home sales continue to outstrip supply, and the market action index has been moving higher for several weeks. This is a seller's market, so watch for upward pressure in pricing. My take, the MAI surge from 44 to 60 shows genuine market heat. With improved days on market, additionally reduced inventory is meeting strong absorption rates in all 4 quartiles. Takeaways, more bids, lighter bidding wars. At our brokerage in the DC metro area, half the homes listed drew at least one offer, but the average slipped to zero point 0.9 from 1.2. Buyers still waive inspections on the right homes, and 90% of accepted contracts met or beat asking price. Price drives velocity. In Bethesda single family homes, listing around 1,150,000 moved quickly, near the 1,760,000 the days on market roughly double, and at 3,662,500 medium, the days stretched to 84 days. Condos and townhouses are carrying momentum. Gaithersburg and Silver Spring attached homes show strong absorption with fewer price cuts and rising rents. Germantown posts a similar absorption jump, though its price reduction share held steady. Chevy Chase is cooling. Its single family market action index fell to 41 from 22, putting buyers in the driver's seat, even as many new listings do test higher price points. Quartiles, though, tell the story. Generally speaking, the lowest price quartiles move fastest, often in under 30 days, while the top quartiles can linger 2 to 3 times longer. Price cuts and relist clusters in the upper half, underscoring the need for sharp pricing above the median. Looking ahead, entry and mid-price condos remain tight. Attached homes priced below 600,000 in Gaithersburg, Germantown, and Silver Spring should keep moving fast and could see firmer prices. Rates may trigger demand. Even a small drop in mortgage rates could pull more buyers back into the market, especially that below the 900,000 mark. Chevy Chase bears watching. If its a market action index stays near 22, buyers press harder on price and terms, but I'm still betting for a surge in the submarket. Preparation matters more than price. Homes that show well and list at a fair market value attract offers quickly. Ready to navigate the shifting market? For buyers, market fragmentation creates opportunities for prepared buyers. Get strategic insights and early access at zenlist.com/a/corey.feldman. For sellers, with some markets shifting to buyers' advantage, accurate pricing is critical. Get your data-driven market analysis at bit.ly/DC Metro CMA. Questions about these evolving dynamics? Let's discuss your specific situation at 301 564 3058. Have a great day.